think there's like a long, I've played it back. It's like all black and then boom, it comes up. Hi, welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows. It is 24th of September, Saturday, 11:43 p.m. I was going to try to get here earlier, but I got caught up in a movie. We are officially in fall. Fan-freaking-tastic. The greatest season ever. Sorry, don't need this ad right now. Boom. So fall is officially official Thursday, this past Thursday at 9 o'clock at night. So I thought, okay, we were going to have a full day of fall. Nope. The stupid summer had to last until about 9 o'clock at night on the 22nd. So we're stuck with that till then, but now it doesn't matter because of fall because, that Friday, boom, temperature just goes, drops down, becomes unbelievably incredible. Open up the windows, air out the house, hence the name airing out the house. Get some fresh air in here. Got the house down to 68 degrees because my wife doesn't like to have the air conditioner down that low. That's the lowest it's been in forever. So fantastic for that. And it got a little chilly, so I closed it up. And then I didn't open it up all today. I should have, but didn't feel like it. And it was 70 degrees all day. It's been 70 degrees in the house, so I'm good. I'm by myself this weekend. My wife and kids are camping. They'll be back early tomorrow, probably by 10, maybe noon at the latest. I don't think they're not that far away, so it'll probably be between 10 and 12, probably maybe close to 11, probably. But yeah, had an eventful couple hours without them. It was technically they left at 5 o'clock, so let's see, 24, about 30 hours. I spent the day after they left. I went to the grocery store, got stuff for the weekend, then watched Rogue One to refresh my memory, and then watched the first 3 episodes of Andor, which was excellent. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Then watched a little bit of my friend Shock Tour's Minecraft show. If you want to check out Shock Tour, you're a Minecraft fan, he's on YouTube, he's on Facebook under Shock Tour. This is the only day he really doesn't stream. I think there's like Wednesday he doesn't either, but every other day he does. So he'll stream tomorrow. It's usually late. It's around this time anyway when he streams. So I figured I'll emulate him as well. And then today I got up about 9:30 and put on my phone for a little bit, then played about 2 hours of Fortnite. Still kind of liking the new season. Talked about that in last week's episode, Spider-Man episode before I got into Spider-Man. Then what did we do? And then I went upstairs to shower and then discovered that our sink in our bathroom had been kind of a slow flowing out and was kind of messed up and yucky. So I tried poking stuff down there, but it made it worse. And so the water was not actually draining at that point. So I figured I would go out to Target and get some, there's a Drano has the snake thing that you use to clean it out. And then you put the fluid in there to get it out there. And I did that successfully. I checked it about an hour or so ago and it is running smoothly, no standing water. So did that and then talked to my mother. I hadn't talked to her about like 2 weeks. It was nice to talk to her. And then watched Ghostbusters Afterlife. Then did my notes for today's show, got dinner, watched Jojo Rabbit, and now I'm doing the show. And then I'll sleep till tomorrow, probably about 9:30 again. Get up, family will be home. Ravens play tomorrow. I'll talk to you about the Ravens a little bit later in the show. And then that's really about it. Nothing else really planned that I know of. So I think I'm going to try this Mango Mountain Dew. Last week, I tried the Voodoo one, which I really, really liked. I don't think I'm going to like this mango one too much. It smells like mango. It's not bad. It is indeed Mango Mountain Dew, though. So if you like mango, it's good. It's not bad. I don't know if I would get a 12-pack of it, but it's bad. Not bad. And I know my daughter likes this. My daughter likes mango, so I'm good on that. Had a dentist appointment on Wednesday. That's right, where I had to get a cavity replaced. not refilled. It had got filled years ago, but it was starting to get old and break through, so they had to redo it again. So my face was numb for most of the day Wednesday, and then pain happened after it went. The numbness went away, so good on that. But this week I got a lot of anniversaries because it is the week. I was wrong about last week. This week is a week where like all the shows would debut on your channels during the time you were growing up. It was always late September is when the new seasons would start for TV shows. So, and also new shows that became classics started on these. So we're getting a lot of that going on, some movies and some other stuff. Got a lot of football to talk about. Got some Sarah Michelle Gellar to talk about. Something from Lithuania that cracks me up. And or review some bad stuff that happened. Orioles playing pretty good lately. Tudum was Tudum was kind of a waste this year. I'll tell you why, but do have some information about it. I gotta keep checking to see if anything popping up. No. Nothing. All right, so that's it. So a lot of football stuff, some real estate, some Beauty and the Beast, writing, don't know what this is, so hopefully I'll figure that out. Man, my handwriting is so terrible. I need to work on that. What the hell is that? Oh, well, I'll get to it. Jeez. Woo, this could be a challenge today, so we will see what happens. So, without further ado, let's get moving on so we can end this pretty quickly. So, I did my laundry today too, so all right, I've talked enough. 7 minutes, we're good. Moving on. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. now have two double-aged children. Their daughter Charlotte turned 13, and a day later, their son Rocky turned 10. So their children are 3 years and 1 day apart, which is kind of fascinating to find out. But Sarah Michelle Gellar is all over Instagram talking about that, which is kind of cool. I still think that her and Charlotte and Noah are going to get together and be a couple. So that would be really cool if that happened. No, it's probably not. But Sarah Michelle Gellar also revealed the first pic from her show Wolfpack, and all it was a picture of her in the woods at night with a jacket on that's like Department of Defense or some sort of military or official government sanctioned thing, and that's all it was really. So those were two kind of neat things about Sarah Michelle Gellar this week. Vince Gilligan, who started on X-Files and has moved on to doing other stuff, most notably Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Both of those shows have wrapped themselves up, and now Vince Gilligan, because he is such a good producer, his next series is already set for Apple TV, and he casts his Better Call Saul, one of his co-stars, Rhea Sahan, as the lead. So it's going to be a female-led show, which isn't going to be about anti-heroes like the last two have been. This is going to be a little something different, but they're not revealing much about it. But the female lead from Better Call Saul will be the lead. The actress Rhea Sahan will be the lead in Vince Gilligan's new show on Apple TV when that comes out. Knock on the Cabin trailer came out this week. This was the one trailer that looked really, really cool. It's M. Night Shyamalan's new film coming out in February. And before people start going, oh, M. Night, blah, I don't want to see this, he did not write the story. He adapted it from a novel called The Cabin at the End of the World. The basic premise of it is a gay couple and their adopted daughter go to a cabin in the woods to enjoy a nice leisurely weekend away. And the young daughter stumbles across a big, tall guy who in this case is played by Dennis Bautista, who says that he is very sorry for what is about to happen. And he and three others home invade the cabin, claiming that the gay couple is going to have to make a choice. And if they make the wrong choice, the world is going to end. And they're there to make sure that that does not happen. Now, Dave Bautista, Rupert Grint from Harry Potter is in it as well. Looks suitably creepy. I have not read the book, but I did order it because I've been intrigued by it. It's been on my list for a while, even before M. Night said he was going to make this movie. But I got it coming, let's see, between September 28th and September 30th. So it did ship. Let's see if I can find the tracking. Where are we right now? Last tracking I have is Friday. It was in Los Angeles. So I am assuming that it will be on its way here east and will probably arrive early next week. And I will get it sometime between Wednesday and Friday. So I can't wait to read that. I will probably read that this fall, probably because I do kind of want to see this movie, and it sounds like an interesting idea. Leaked photo of Paul Rudd as Scott Lang in Ant-Man 3 showed up on my feed today, and it is a beaten and bloody Scott Lang. So it looks like that the movie is going to be a little bit more intense than a usual Ant-Man film, because he was bloody and beaten, and I don't think he's ever been bloody or beaten in any of his other movies. So kind of interesting to see how that's going to go. I mean, it is starting off the new phase 5, so, or phase 4, phase 5. So we'll see. What the hell? What? Oh, Ravens. Okay. Ravens collapse on Sunday. That's right. That's what took me a second. Sorry. Last Sunday, I did my Spider-Man 9th anniversary show, and I went over a little bit because I wanted to go see the Ravens play at 1 o'clock on the TV. So it was about 1:10 by the time I got upstairs to turn on the game. The Ravens were up 7-0, having scored on a 103-yard kickoff return to start the game by Dave Duvernay. And the game looked in hand by halftime. The Ravens were up by 21 at halftime, but they had a major collapse in the second half, technically in the fourth quarter, where they gave up way too many yards to Tua Tagovailoa and a bunch of touchdowns, and the Ravens end up losing after being up by 21 on Sunday. Now, they weren't the only team that lost had a major collapse. There were two other teams that were up big with very little time left, ended up losing the game. The good news, though, is that the AFC North, which is what the Ravens are part of, every team lost on Sunday, so we didn't lose any ground. And then Thursday was the Browns and Steelers to start the week off. Browns beat the Steelers. So the Browns are now up top of the division at 2-1. Steelers are 1-2. Bengals are 0-2. Ravens are 1-1. So the Ravens have to win tomorrow against the Patriots in order to stay on pace with the Browns. So we'll see, and hopefully they won't have a collapse. They are playing away, so we will find out, but I am looking forward. Hopefully it's going to be a good film. On the other hand, the Orioles, they lost today in a shootout with the Houston Astros, 11-10. But the last 3 games they played, 2 against the Astros and 1 against the Tigers, they had 3 of the greatest pitching performances that any Oriole pitcher has ever had of all time. I think it was Jordan Lyles pitched 9 innings against the Tigers for a complete game, and the Orioles won that one. Kyle Bradish pitched 8 2/3, so was only 1 out away from pitching a complete game in a shutout against the Astros, which are one of the best teams in baseball. And then Dean Kramer on Friday night pitched a 9-inning shutout also. So the Orioles pitchers have pitched phenomenal the last 3 days. They collapsed today with 2 4-run innings, which again eventually cemented it. But the Orioles, they played them tough. They stuck around, but they end up losing at the end 11-10. So they have one more game against the Astros. So if they win that, they win the series against them. That would be great, and get to 80 wins, which would be amazing. So there was that. So here's hoping everything else falls into place. Some sad news, but not entirely unexpected. James Earl Jones has retired officially as the voice of Darth Vader. He has signed over the rights to the voice to Star Wars or wherever to do with it what they want. Either get someone else to portray the role or use various other recordings that he has done and to do the lines. I don't think that's going to be a case, since they're going to probably have to hire somebody to change up the voices here. But yes, James Earl Jones has retired as the voice of Darth Vader. So in any future Star Wars events, you'll not hear him. His last vocal was in Kenobi, unless he did some stuff for Andor, which we won't know for a little while. Speaking of Andor, the first 3 episodes came out. I wanted to rewatch Rogue One to refresh my memory, and then I went in and dived into the first 3 episodes of Andor. They appear to be there's 12 episodes this season, 12 episodes next season, 24 total episodes, and they're going to end the series. Tony Gilroy is the writer, producer of it. Was going to be the director, but I think COVID killed that noise. So he's just the writer producer. They got someone else to do it. Tony Gilroy is a writer who's adapted a bunch of his movies or his books into movies, and he's directed them. They asked him to write Andor because he had co-written, I should say, Rogue One, which appeared with where Andor made his first appearance. So they decided to keep him in there because he knew the character. We are getting a little bit of his past, how he joined the rebellion. We got in the first 3 episodes, and we saw some interesting things. But it's the most un-Star Wars-like Star Wars show for the first 3 episodes, because there was barely anything Star Wars related in it. There was a spaceship, but it could have been any spaceship. There was no stormtroopers. There was talk of the Empire or the Imperial Army or whatever, but nothing else about that. There were these other police officer sort of things, which were the main villains of it. But yeah, no lightsabers, no real discussion of any Star Wars thing related, which is a good thing. It's reading like a gritty novel, and starts off with a cliche start, but you have to have it to get to where we are now. Good cast. Diego Luna, of course, as Andor, leads the cast and is phenomenal. 100% surprised by Fiona Shaw, who, when I went and looked at her career, I was like, really? Because Fiona Shaw, that most people remember her as Mrs. Dursley from the Harry Potter movies. So you think of her as just sort of this wormy lady, but she's done a lot of like action-y sort of TV shows after Harry Potter. And she's now has a very interesting role in this one, where she's playing the almost complete opposite of Dursley, where she's a badass woman, thief, actually. She's a badass thief. So it's really, really awesome to see that. Stellan Skarsgård makes an appearance in the 2nd episode and more of an appearance in the 3rd episode. He is going to be the lead into how Andor gets into the rebellion, but Stellan Skarsgård is Stellan Skarsgård. He's outstanding, and he's really, really good in this one as well. And Kyle Soor, I think, Soor, is playing the villain in this show. And I was watching him during these 3 episodes, and I kept saying every time I saw him, that's got to be Kyle MacLachlan's son, because he looks like Kyle MacLachlan, has very similar mannerisms to Kyle MacLachlan, but is not the son of Kyle MacLachlan. But it is, if you watch it and you know Kyle MacLachlan from Twin Peaks and other movies as well, and you know his mannerisms and the way he talks and the way he acts and the way he looks, you're going to look at this kid and say, my God, it's his son. and it's not. It's absolutely insane, but it's just as good. So it is a completely different Star Wars show than I was expecting. I have seen in future episodes of this season, there will be more of a Star Wars connection, which it's going to. It's leading up to it, obviously. But this is kind of what we need, is a little something different from the Star Wars factory. And it's so far is absolutely outstanding. There's actually only one death this week. Yes, I have tons of anniversaries. My God. One death this week, but it's a big one. Louise Fletcher, who played Nurse Ratched, won Oscar for playing Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and also was a absolutely brilliant evil Bajoran regular, semi-regular in Deep Space Nine, passed away this week at the age of 88. She was good at playing evil people, but she was, I think what I've heard, is one of the kindest people you've ever met. So that's kind of interesting like that. Last week, we told you that Phantom of the Opera will be leaving Broadway for the first, will be leaving Broadway after being on Broadway for close to 35 years. Well, another play is going to be leaving Broadway for good. Well, nothing's for good. They'll do a revival 10, 15 years from now, probably. This one isn't as popular as Phantom of the Opera, or has been around as long as Phantom of the Opera, but it's still kind of interesting that it's another play leaving Broadway. Beetlejuice, the musical based on the Tim Burton movie, will be leaving Broadway, I believe, at the end of this year. I guess I can't push this off anymore. I wish I could make this the last thing on my show, but I figure 21 minutes in, we'll get to it. This was brought up by a coworker of mine who showed it to me. I had not seen this, and I still have not seen it. But I believe it wouldn't surprise me, but a Lithuanian company has created, it's after midnight too, so I can talk about this, has created a pussy-flavored potato chip. Now, look, I love eating pussy like any other guy, but I don't know if I want to have a potato chip that tastes like eating pussy. I'd rather be eating pussy, but that's besides the point. A potato chip, pussy-flavored potato chip. I mean, my wife works in chemicals, so I'm sure she could probably figure out the configuration for a pussy-flavored potato chip, but what would you use as a flavor thing? Because it doesn't really have, it has a hard to quantify taste. But yes, it's a real thing. It's up there with the butthole chocolates that they release during Valentine's Day. But yes, pussy flavored potato chips. Now I should have called the episode that, but I think YouTube be like, whoa, wait a second, we can't have that on there. So I had to call it airing out the house. But yeah, pussy. Anywho, I guess I put it off enough. Actually, I can do one more thing before I do my rant. The fucking guy, the previous asshole president, who is a fascist dictator, traitor, who should be locked up, but still isn't for whatever reason. But it's getting close. The vice is clamping in on him. He declared today or this week that so the FBI raided his house because he had taken a bunch of classified material from the White House, which is illegal and is traitorous because he's been selling it to our enemies for a lot of money. And the FBI found out about it. They raided the place and got it back. Now, him being him, he was not arrested and thrown in prison for being a traitor, which he absolutely should have been. For whatever reason, they did not do that. I don't understand what's going on with that because it's cut and dry. That's what he did. But he claimed that he had declassified a bunch of them, so it would be okay for him to have them. You're not president anymore, despite what you may think, and you can't declassify it. And you took these once you left the White House after you were president, so you did not declassify them. And he got his way by getting another judge to take a look at the stuff before making a judgment on it. But that blew up in his face when the judge said, "You've given me no proof that this is your stuff. I'm reclassifying, or it's classified material. It belongs to the White House." So he lost that event. So on this fucking, I guess, Hannity or one of these asshole Fox shows or whatever, he claimed that presidents, you're not president, can declassify items just by thinking about it. Yes, he said he could declassify items just by thinking about them being declassified. I'm at a loss here, so I'm just going to go move on to my rant. This is two of it's work related. There's like three all rants thrown together, three kind of work related and one person related. Someone sent me a message on my Facebook page yesterday, Friday, I should say, that I need to tone down the number of posts I put on my page that's entertainment related, because he doesn't want to read them. So I respond to him with only one word, no, and I muted him. I'm not going to unfriend him just yet, but I'm really, really close. And I took the offending thing off of my page. I didn't delete it, but I hid it so I wouldn't look at it again. And I hid any answers that he has to that. So I don't want to see anything about that. It's my fucking page, asswipe. I can do whatever the fuck I want with it. And there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. Well, there is. You can unfriend me, which I'm fine with. You can mute me, which I'm also fine with. I don't give a rat's ass. You know, I mute you. You don't do a lot of stuff on Facebook anyway, so it's not really going to help much. But you always have these little things where you need to comment on every little thing I write, and you have to be an asshole about it. Well, fuck you, dickhead. I'm done with this shit. I think you used to be a cool guy. Now you're just a fucking loser. And I'm sick of you, and I'm sick of it. And I'm this close to unfriending your stupid ass. I cannot believe you had temerity to tell me that. You know, it's my fucking page. I can do whatever the fuck I want with it. How would you like it if I went to your page, say, stop writing stuff about sports or your family? I don't want to read those. You flip out on me because it's your fucking page. So fuck right off, you Republican shithead. Yes, he's a fucking Republican also. Trumper asshole. Who was cool in the old days, but now is a little fuckface. So fuck you. And I am this close to unfriending your stupid ass. We'll see what happens in 30 days when I mute you. See what happens during this mute phase. I might end up just muting you out till I don't ever see your shit again. Second, a couple weeks ago, I think not really a couple weeks, probably about a month or so ago, there was a situation at my work where one of our employees was getting targeted harassment done to them, and nothing happened to the people who were doing the harassment due to the fact that one of them was the son of one of the managers, but we're not going to get into that aspect of it. So once they went away to college, we thought, okay, everything was going to be great because there were two people who were the masterminds behind it, and they both went to college again, so they're not working anymore. But they left behind two of their acolytes, and on Thursday, I believe, or Friday, it was either Thursday or Friday, they had targeted harassment her. They had taken down her personal pictures and took the power cord to her radio away. Now, eventually it was found out that they did it, and for once something happened to them because it wasn't the son of one of the managers. They actually got taken to the boardroom and yelled at by another manager and the co-owners of the company. I think both the owners of the company are involved in that. And I've been going by them, because I go by them at lunch and where they work, stuff like that. And they're consistently talking about it, and they are playing the victim. As I said the last time, if you did it because you don't like the person, you think that they're an asshole or a bitch or a loser or a fuckface or whatever, it doesn't give you the right to fuck with their stuff. You just ignore her or him and move on. I can give you an example. I had a bad day a couple weeks ago, and I complained about a couple that has started dating. Where they work together, now they're dating each other, and they are always talking and not working. Look, I'm fine. I'm happy you guys are in love and all that. That's great. I love it. That's fantastic. But when you're fucking work, you fucking work. We had another couple that was dating a couple years ago. I didn't even know they were dating for 6 months because they kept the private life and their work lives separate. And then what made me even more mad is that when they're talking and not working, one of them is in charge of a lot of stuff that is way behind, and you're not working on that. I would be ballistic. I'd be screaming at them to get back to work. But no, the manager keeps walking by and ignoring them because he's friends with them. But if I'm talking to someone, this one guy, when I'm talking to other people, they don't say, I'm sorry, I revealed it. They don't say anything. But when I'm talking to this one person, they tell that person to get back to work and stop talking. And then the manager goes and he talks for hours about stuff that isn't work related. So it's a fucking double standard, hypocritical bullshit. And the fact that these two acolytes got busted and got in trouble is great. So hopefully that won't be a problem anymore, but goddamn. You all need to fucking grow up. Now, the couple that I am mad at, I wrote a little thing on my Twitter complaining about them, not giving them by name or whatever. And one of the couples actually is on Twitter. I don't follow them, but somehow found my tweet and liked it. So now they have it in their likes so they can show it to everybody and whatever. At this point, I don't give a fuck. And they both started to ignore me now, which is fine. I don't care. That's how you're supposed to do it. They're not fucking with my shit. They're just ignoring me, and I'm okay with that. I'm ignoring their dumbasses also. And I'm fine with that. And also, I'll start because I was trying to be polite to one of them. I said hi to them, and they looked at me like I was an awful terrible person and went back to work. This is before I said anything, whatever. So I was like, that's kind of a dick move. And that's what sort of set me off, and the rest is history. So grow the fuck up. Jesus. This fucking, because of that fucking guy, and because of 2016, there's been a bunch of bullshit lately. And we just need to get this fucking shit done and swept under the rug. Jesus fucking Christ. All right. Rant over. We're going to go into a long period now. This is probably going to take a good 10 minutes or so. There's a ton of anniversary stuff, but I figure may as well hit these now so I can get all these out of the way, and then I can just clean up the stuff we'll do after I do the anniversaries. We'll do Tudum and the rest of the other news that's new and approved by the U.S. Army, the sweetest smelling army in the world. See one more time. If there's anything else new from Tudum, or if they are done, looks like they are done, which is a bunch of bullshit. Yep. So here we go, trying to figure out what my handwriting says. Anniversaries. My favorite band of all time, REM, called it a career this week in 2011. So it's been 11 years since they've broken up. Fortnite, I talked to you about that last week. Their new season started last Sunday. So we're almost about a week into it right now. Is celebrating their 5th year of existence this week. So this week, 5 years ago, Fortnite was created and started. I think this was Save the World, and then they do a separate anniversary for Battle Royale, I think. Now, despite what happened recently, back in 1984, which was 84, 94, 2004, 2014, 2024, would be 40, 39, 38 years ago. The Cosby Show debuted on NBC and was a really good show. Bill Cosby at the time was like America's dad, and it was a fun show, and it showed successful African-American families, and it was funny, and it was all kinds of good stuff. And then we learned about Bill Cosby, and it sort of tarnishes it a little bit, but not too much, because you can separate the creator from the creation. That's why I still like Buffy, despite the fact that Joss Whedon is a misogynistic fucking piss shithead. So move on with that. Nirvana's Nevermind debuted this week in 1991, so that makes that 91, 2001, 2011, 2021, 31 years ago. So there's good on that. Last of the Mohicans, the great movie with Daniel Day-Lewis, came out 30 years ago, I believe, 1992. That sounds about right. 30 years ago. Knight Rider, great TV show I grew up watching with David Hasselhoff, came out 40 years ago this week. So it's celebrating its 40th anniversary this week. The Munsters debuted this week, like the 24th of September in 1964. The Addams Family also debuted in 1964, but about a week before the Munsters did. So that was kind of weird. And I know I wrote that down. There it is. I wrote that down here. So like that. That's kind of weird, but still kind of funny. Any more anniversaries on this page? Nope. Sledgehammer, great show about a cop that is a little crazy. Came out in 1986. Alf, the alien puppet who ate cats, which is another show that I watched. I liked. The Christmas special is one of the best Christmas specials of all time. I realized that came out in 1986. Family Ties is also celebrating its 40th anniversary. It came out the same week as Knight Rider, and it came out in 1982, so it's celebrating its 40th anniversary. Family Ties brought us Michael J. Fox, and even a little bit of early Tom Hanks was in it as well. He was in 2 episodes, so kind of interesting as well. Shaun of the Dead came out in 2004, so that's going to be entering its 20th anniversary in 2 years. So it's 18 years old. I will probably be watching that around Halloween time. Full House with the Olsen twins, Dave Coulier, Bob Saget, and all the like, came out in 1987. So that's what, 35 years? 87, 97, 2007, 17. Yep, 35 years ago. So I'm going to write that down because that's important to know. Sci-Fi Channel is 30 years old. I thought that was last week, but it popped up this week. So it's officially 30 years old this week. I talked about Sci-Fi last week, so I'm not going to do it again this week. The Corpse Bride, Tim Burton's stop-motion animated film. Remember, he only wrote and produced Nightmare Before Christmas. He did not direct it. This was the first stop-motion one he directed. Later on, he did a stop-motion version of his first film he ever did, Frankenweenie, as well. But The Corpse Bride came out in 2005. Voice of Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter, so on and so forth. Baywatch, speaking of Hasselhoff, debuted this week in 1989. Hasselhoff has 2 shows that came out in the span of 7 years during this week. I'm trying to remember if that started off on network, but it sucked on network. So they shifted to syndication where it took off, or did it start on syndication right away? I don't remember. Shawshank Redemption, one of the best movies of all time, one of the best Stephen King adaptations of all time, made its debut in 1994. And you know what else came out in 1994? A little show called Friends came out. That's 38 years ago. Friends debuted this week in 1994. I think there's one other one that's in 94. I just want to double check it. I can see if I can find it here. I'll see it there it is. Yes, ER also premiered this week in 1994, probably the same day as Friends because it was a Thursday night thing. So both Friends and ER debuted this week in 1994, and Shawshank Redemption was out in movie theaters this week in 1994. Here's all the big ones. There's a lot here. My Two Dads, Paul Reiser, debuted in 1987, so that's 35 years old. The premise of that was a woman had a child, but she didn't know who the dad was, and the woman died, and then the two people who thought they were the dads decided they were going to both have custody of their daughter, not knowing who the real father was. So that was kind of interesting. Who's the Boss? Tony Danza, Alyssa Milano, 1984 debut this week. Monday Night Football. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Debuted in 1970 because football didn't really become hugely popular on TV till the 1970s, really. And Monday Night Football debuted in 1970. It's still going strong, though. It is no longer on network. It is on ESPN now, and it's not as good as it used to be, but here we go. Seven, the movie with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, directed by David Fincher, came out in 1995. That's, for me, a movie I watched once. I'm never going to watch it ever again because it's that disturbing. We got three things that debuted in 1978 this week. Battlestar Galactica, one of my favorite shows growing up, debuted in 1978, 44 years ago. Mork and Mindy, another show I watched in the 70s, 1978, debuted also in 78 this week, 44 years old. And WKRP in Cincinnati, another show I watched in 78, debuted this week as well. Jump to 1979, Buck Rogers debuted in 1979. That's 43 years old. The movie Goodfellas popped out in 1990. Everyone loves that movie. It's okay for me. It's not one of my favorites. I saw it once. I'm probably never going to see it again. The great comic book movie Dread came out in 2012. So it's celebrating its 10th anniversary, and we still have not gotten a sequel. Carl Urban is all in on it, but it is the best adaptation of Judge Dredd you've ever seen. Firefly, talking about Joss Whedon, again, being able to separate the creator from the creation. Firefly is 20 years old this week. Did not get the chance it should have on Fox and became a cult hit. And they had a movie to wrap everything up, and that's about all that she wrote. But Nathan Fillion, Alan Tudyk headlined that. Step by Step was Suzanne Summers' return to sitcom television. Debuted in 1991 with Patrick Duffy, I believe, from Dallas. Spencer for Hire, a great TV show based on a series of books, debuted in 1985. Doogie Howser, MD, debuted this week in 1989. The original Flash TV show, which was outstanding, with John Wesley Shipp, Mark Hamill playing one of his first non-Luke Skywalker roles in The Trickster, and it had some good villains in there as well. Debuted in 1990. Tears for Fears' first album, I forget what it's called, something World. Mad World, that's right. Debuted 40 years ago this week. Oh, Underworld, the movie with Kate Beckinsale, who was a vampire who was involved with a werewolf, and the werewolves and the vampires were at war with each other. Spun off a number of spin-offs that did not do as well, but the original one came out in 2003. Hellraiser, the original Clive Barker movie, came out in 1987. That's their 35th anniversary. And something that happens later this week, which I'll talk about here in a second. Now it makes sense. This one right here. Actually, I'll talk about right now. The first trailer for the brand new updating of Hellraiser on Hulu came out this week. This time it's going to be a female Pinhead. And as I said last time we saw a picture, it was like, does it make me feel weird that it's kind of turned on by her? But the trailer sort of turned me off because it is just because it's on Hulu does not mean that you are not going to get the gore and the horror that you're expecting. This movie looks dark and disturbing and a good follow-up to the original Hellraiser. So I figured I'd mention that because it's connected. Head of the Class, Howard Hessman's show after WKRP, also had what's her face, who married Mike Tyson, was in it as well. And was she wasn't. That debuted in 1986 of this week. Get Smart, one of my favorite shows that I watched in syndication, came out in 1965. Mel Brooks was involved with it. Don Adams, Barbara Babcock, something like that. I forget what her name is. 57 years ago, exactly 10 years later, in 1975, we get John Cleese's follow-up to Monty Python, Fawlty Towers, which is also a hugely entertaining show, perfect for him as well. DuckTales, celebrating its 35th anniversary this year. The cartoon debuted in 1987. Bubba Hotep, the Bruce Campbell, Ossie Davis horror movie where Bruce Campbell plays an Elvis who faked his death and is now in an old person's home. And Ossie Davis is John F. Kennedy, who was shot but did not die, but they decided to say he was killed, but they decided to put him in hiding, so they changed his color of his skin and so that no one would know that was him. They play two members who live in an old folks home who have to take on a mummy who's stealing the souls of the old people around them. Sorry, I just wanted to finish this real quick. As I said, not too bad. But, you know, if you're a Mango fan, absolutely go for it. But I'm not the biggest Mango fan. The Pickup Artist came out in 1987, 35 years ago. Robert Downey Jr. and Molly Ringwald, early Robert Downey Jr. Debuted. Not as popular as other Molly Ringwald movies, but still okay. Also in 1987, Fatal Attraction is celebrating its 35th anniversary this year. Glenn Close and Michael Douglas, about an unfaithful husband who has a one-night stand with an obsessed woman who it turns violent. So, yes. One of my favorite movies of all time, Singles, debuted 30 years ago, 1992. A lot of people I know don't like Singles. Singles is a good film to watch during Valentine's Day because it is a romantic drama directed by Cameron Crowe. But it is also you're going to watch this, it did not age well because it's focused entirely on the grunge movement in Seattle, which was just hitting its stride in 92. So what I like to look at it as is that you don't want to look at it as because the themes itself is good for any time of the year. It's about romance and three different couples and how they deal with stuff and it's stuff that still goes on nowadays. But the atmosphere and stuff like that itself is so stuck in 1992 that I take a look at is the movie takes place in 1992. You know, there are movies that take place in a certain time frame. So you're going to get all that sort of thing. So just ignore the fact that it's just a regular romantic comedy, but it's romantic comedy set in 1992. Now that we're in the future. Now it was present day when it came out, but looking at it now, 30 years later, just focus on it as being a film that was set in 1992, and then you'll be okay with it. Great cast in that. You got Keira Sedgwick, you got Matt Dillon, you've got Bridget Fonda, you've got Campbell Scott. Let's see who else in there. Tim Burton has a cameo in it. Who else has a cameo in it? That's surprising. Lots of the band. Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam had an appearance in there. Alice in Chains makes an appearance in there. One of my favorite quotes of all time is from that movie, "As I live my life like a French movie." Love that, and it's an eminently quotable film. It is a fun film, great soundtrack, and just a fun little film. And I think the last one I have is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., debuted 9 years ago this week. So there's my anniversary stuff. That took up the majority of my show. Now we're getting into the some of the meat of the stuff here. As we're getting into the 50 minutes in here. Let's just double check. One last thing to make sure there's no more Tudum. I do not see what I'm looking for. So I think that it is not going to be announced, which is a shame. So we'll start with that. Yes, I am very, they're still doing some stuff. Toei Ubukata, Hiromu Araku, and Wit Studio have come together for Moonrise, a brand new sci-fi anime that will be debuting on Netflix. That was a part of, so that was only 6 minutes ago. So maybe they're still doing stuff. Maybe there's time, but it's just way too late now. I mean, man, it's after midnight. So it's 3 hours delay. It's 9 o'clock out west, but still you'd think they would be stopping soon. But yeah. So my main thing about Tudum is it's not as good as last year's. Because I remember I did an episode last year called Tudum, It's Fall, and that was just basically talking about all the cool stuff that happened there. There was some stuff that came out that was interesting, but a lot of it just sort of like, because I think what really got me depressed is I was expecting 100% that they were going to announce Sandman Season 2, because Sandman came out in early August, has been number 1 in 87 countries for about a month. And we still do not know if a second season has been picked up yet. Now, we hear the rumors are it's all about money and stuff like that, but you had 87 countries make you number 1. It is the hottest show on streaming right now. And the fact of the matter is they're working on it right this second. And they're just waiting to see what's going to happen. See if they get some more, so they can start they're working on the scripts and the special effects. So they can get a little bit ahead. And you need something to fill the slot of Stranger Things. So Stranger Things ain't coming back till 2024. That's 2 years away. So you need something to fill that void, and Sandman would be perfect because they're already working on the shit. You were supposed to announce a second season and potentially a third season at Tudum, and then they can start working on it, and it comes out next year around the same time it did this year in the midsummer and end of summer. It made sense, but instead they said, fuck you, Sandman fans. We're not going to let you know what we're doing. So that pissed me off a little bit. The other big news, though, that didn't piss me off as much that came out of this stuff this week, as I said, not a lot really came out this week. But Wednesday, the Tim Burton prequel to his Addams Family show, that if this does successful, he will be able to do his Addams Family show. But Wednesday is a series that is Tim Burton's first Netflix job. He's writing and directing every episode. He has Danny Elfman doing the music as well, and we've seen some teasers for it, but we didn't know when it was coming out. They kind of screwed it up by not having it come out in time for Halloween, but it will be coming out in time for Thanksgiving. Wednesday will be debuting on Wednesday, November 23rd, the day before Thanksgiving. So good on that. It's good to see that. November seems to be the big month for Netflix this year. A lot of stuff that is coming up in here is all due out in November. Not all of them, but a lot of it is. So we had that. Let's see what else. The other big one that I was interested in, Slumberland, the Jason Momoa fantasy film, has a date also of November 18th. And that's due out with they had a new trailer, a new poster come out for that. So that's interesting on that. Midnight Club, which was announced a while back, is from Mike Flanagan, the guy who did The Haunting of Hill House and other stuff. So, and is hugely popular around Halloween. And he announced the Midnight Club. Midnight Mass was another one that was really good. Now, Midnight Club, we didn't know much about it except that he was involved with it. We get the first trailer this week. It takes place in a hospital where kids who have cancer go, I guess, gather together and try to call spirits of the other children who died in this hospital and stuff like that. So it looks kind of interesting. Looks up there on par with your typical stuff. I believe it'll be coming out sometime in October, next couple of weeks, I believe. Did not have a date that I could see on that. With the death of Queen Elizabeth, still fresh in everybody's mind, The Crown, the TV show on Netflix that is basically a biopic of the Queen of England, has prepped season 5, which is now due November 9th. Imelda Staunton will be playing the role of Queen Elizabeth II. They've had different actresses play her during this thing, but every season covers a period of time. Last season, I think, covered the Diana stuff, and so forth. This season apparently is going to enter into 21st century with her grandchildren finding love and the issues in general with that, and her becoming a great grandmom, stuff like that. So I would assume that I think they're working on season 6 right now. Season 6 might be the final season because it'll end with her death this year. That happened just a couple weeks ago. So I'm assuming that they're going to do that. But The Crown is basically a series biopic about Queen Elizabeth from the beginning of her time all the way to the end of her time. This movie was announced a while back because the star power. It is going to be their big 2023 movie, I believe. It's called Mother, and it's going to star Jennifer Lopez, and it's this assassin who has to protect her daughter. So they had the first trailer for that pop up. They have there's going to be a limited series about the Notre Dame fire. Not a documentary, a limited series with actors recreating the whole Notre Dame fire from a few years ago. That's due out on October 19th on Netflix. Sonic is going to be getting his own animated series coming in winter of 2022, which I would assume would be probably December-ish. We'll probably see the Sonic cartoon. So good on that as well. A new thing that's been announced this week: John Boyega, Jamie Foxx, and Takea Paris are in a bizarre little film called They Cloned Tyrone. Trailer for that came out. It's kind of sort of a blaxploitation parody sort of thing, but interesting cast, and it's coming up real soon. The Gal Gadot's new movie for Netflix called Heart of Stone debuted its first trailer this week. There's a new TV show coming to Netflix called The Watcher. Stars God, I just had her name, Naomi Watts. And it's based on a true story about a couple that moves into a house and they start getting letters about someone who is called the Watcher, who watches their house and becomes obsessed with them. So it's kind of a horror sort of limited series. The first footage of the Bridgerton sequel, or spinoff, I should say spinoff, made its appearance to Tudum this week, as did the first clip from Extraction 2 with Chris Hemsworth. This time, instead of it being in the jungle, it is now in a snowy, mountainy area. Enola Holmes 2 with Millie Bobby Brown and Henry Cavill released their trailer for the sequel to it, Enola Holmes 2. That's due out November 4th. It looks adorable, as the original Enola Holmes is, so probably watch that when that comes out eventually. New trailer for the new season of Lupin the Third was debuted this week, and the first footage from the 4th season of You, the serial killer show, debuted at Tudum this week as well. And I mentioned that one anime, but what's missing, unless they're waiting, it appears to me it's only a 1-day event, but if it's a 2-day event, maybe we're still going to be in luck. But from what I've read somewhere, it's just a 1-day event. But we have not seen anything about any of the live action anime films or TV shows or films. Like the first footage, like what would have made this Tudum interesting would be the first footage from One Piece or Avatar, stuff like that. That's going to be your big tentpole items next year. Would be nice to see some of that. Would be nice to get a date for the Eddie Murphy, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, David Duchovny film that was teased last Tudum to come out sometime this year. Still only seen a quick trailer for it, but did not have a date. Would like to see that. See an update on that would be nice. What else is there? Sandman stuff, of course. The Christmas movie with Lindsay Lohan, I'm kind of intrigued by that. I would like to see maybe the first trailer for that. So let me just check and make sure that Tudum is only 1 day. If it's 2 days, maybe we'll get our, get our wish and get Sandman 2 and day 2. Tudum. yeah, so yeah, I mean that's it. There's nothing else. So there's only just uh, one day of it. So kind of a bummer. I mean, a bust, to be honest. I mean, people want to see the Avatar stuff. They want to see the One Piece stuff. They want to see Sandman, you know? So that would have been kind of nice if you would have announced those things, but you didn't or showed anything from that. So this Tudum was kind of Tudum. I'm so funny. Though, as I said, the good news is we got Wednesday's debut on November 23rd, so looking forward to that. And Enola Holmes trailer was good as well, Midnight Club. So, you know, kind of some good stuff, but could have been so much better. Anyway, let's move on from there. The Fabelmans, which is Spielberg's most personal film, and the Weird Al Yankovic parody biopic starring Daniel Radcliffe, got awards at the Toronto International Film Festival this week. So that's good for them. That's good for their potential for Oscars. Jonathan Barley was cast as the male lead in the Wicked movies. Remember, they're going to be making 2 films of the musical Wicked, and now they have the male lead. The Dead Boy Detectives, which is another Neil Gaiman thing that is very Sandman-esque, but is on HBO Max instead, has cast Luke Gage as Thomas the Cat King. Moonage Daydream trailer, which is the David Bowie biopic, was released this week as well. Albert Pujols hit his 700th home run this week as well. Don't Worry, Darling. I talked about this show a couple weeks ago about all the stuff that everyone was talking about Olivia Wilde and it being a double standard for a woman-directed film and a man-directed film, and people thought it was going to tank. Number one at the box office this week with an estimated $21 million, which is not a bad opening, really, for a film that everybody said was complete garbage. So it could be the whole fact that people wanted to check out the garbage to see if it really was garbage, or they wanted to see it for itself. And there's also some signs that the Florence Pugh, Olivia Wilde sort of feud might have lessened a little bit because Florence posted a bunch of behind-the-scenes pictures of her time on the film. So maybe that's a good sign, whatever. D&D is hot again, and Hasbro used to have, well, not Hasbro, but there used to be a Saturday morning cartoon based on D&D. Now Hasbro is releasing action figures, since D&D is hot again, based on those figures, based on the cartoon coming out here really soon. Apple TV is all over the place this week. Ryan Reynolds and the Will Ferrell film Spirited, which is a musical retelling of A Christmas Story. Yes, you heard that right. Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell are starring in a musical version of A Christmas Carol called Spirited. Got its first sort of behind-the-scenes pictures of it and is due to come out this year. They're going to release it in a limited amount of theaters. I think it's November 11th, something like that. And then it'll be on Apple TV like the 15th or something like that. So it'll be coming direct probably to Apple TV. But if you want to see it, maybe it'll be one of the lucky theaters that's going to have it. But it's not going to have a wide 1,000 movie theater release. So I probably doubt it's going to be anywhere near Baltimore, Reisterstown area. What is that? Oh, Detective Pikachu, which was a video game first, then was a successful, fantastic, fun movie, is now getting a sequel video game. So maybe that'll open the door for a sequel movie potentially. But right now, the Detective Pikachu 2 will be coming out really soon. Let's talk about Zack Snyder's failures again, because I hate Zack Snyder. And for those who've watched the show, they know how much I hate Zack Snyder. And the biggest failure of them all, besides himself, obviously, is Ezra Miller, the whack job who plays the Flash, who's a terrible Flash and has been absolutely insane over the last year and a half, is now continuing to show how insane he is. 3 stories about Ezra Miller this week. 1, they said they want to marry a Native American spider goddess. 2, he was snubbed by Susan Sarandon. They were supposed to have dinner together, and she snubbed them. So they claim Susan Sarandon needs to pay tribute to the Flash altar due to the snub. And finally, they are saying that the reason they are acting the way they are is because their parents got divorced. My parents got divorced, and I'm not a psychopathic asshole loser. Well, some people might think I am, but I'm not. Psychopath. Mental. Some football. This is kind of interesting. Talked about the Ravens falling apart against the Miami Dolphins and Tua Viola last week. Kind of interesting NFL fact came out. Since 2021, the Miami Dolphins have been undefeated against quarterbacks that have the letter O in their last name. And that includes last week's victory over Lamar Jackson. But they've lost every game against a quarterback that does not have an O in it, Josh Allen. Just kind of a weird, random NFL fact. The person who was watching was like, oh, he's talking about Ezra Miller. I'm done. So, moving on. Speaking of football, may as well keep this up. The Lions, the Jets, the Jaguars, and the Giants, who for years have been considered garbage teams in the NFL, the worst teams in the NFL. All 4 of them won this past Sunday. And it's the first time that all 4 of these teams won on the same day since 2011, or as they said in the story, in 3,935 days. Those 4 teams all won on the same day. Now, the Lions beat the Commanders. Commanders were terrible in the first half, and that's how they had too big of a hole to dig out of. But in the second half, they started digging, and they came within 9 points of almost tying them. The Jaguars, surprisingly, blew out the Colts 24-0. Colts are dumpster fire right now for their first victory. The Jets, with my boy Joe Flacco, who Miami has beaten, Flacco, came from behind. I remember how the Ravens had their massive defeat to the Dolphins because they lost a 21-point lead. The Browns were beating the Jets by like 11 with like a minute left, and they lost the game because of Joe Flacco. The Giants have started 2-0 and have been surprisingly outstanding so far. So that'll be continued to see if all this will continue on there. I know there's another football one. I think is it on this page? And it has to do with Joe Flacco. I think it's on another page here. Let me just see if I can find this real quick. If not, I'll just move on there. Yeah, here we go. Entering into week 3 today, well, technically Thursday, but today, the top 3 quarterbacks with the most passing yards in the NFL so far this week, or so far in the first 2 weeks of the season, are not who you think they would be. Number 3 is my boy Joe Flacco, who has it's like 603 or something like that. Second up is Carson Wentz with 652, and number 1 is Tua Tagovailoa with 739 yards. So no Patrick Mahomes, no Russell Wilsons, no Tom Brady's. It's Tua, Carson, and Joe Flacco are the league leaders in yardage by quarterbacks, passing yards by quarterbacks. Going into week 3, obviously, it's a long season. We'll see what happens. Particularly see what happens if Miami can keep up. They will be playing Buffalo this week, so they're playing Josh Allen, I believe. So that's a quarterback that doesn't have an O in his name, so they might end up losing that one. I don't know who the Jets are playing, and let's see if I can get an idea of who's who here coming up. Where are we? NFL scores. Here we go. All right. Seymour. All right. Yeah, Bills and Dolphins. So Josh Allen does not have an O in his name. So if this stat is to be believed, the Dolphins are going to lose later today. The Bengals are playing the Jets. The Bengals have had a terrible start to their season. They're 0-2, and they're playing a hot Joe Flacco at home in New York. The Lions are playing the Vikings in a divisional game. We'll see how that goes. Vikings looked horrible last week, so we'll see if that keeps up. The Jaguars are playing the Chargers. That could be a tough one for them as well. And Washington is playing Philadelphia, so we'll see if Carson continue his streak of passing. And the Giants are playing the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. So that is our schedule. So we'll see next week. We probably will be talking about other stuff, and this past week too would just be a weird footnote and stuff. Pokemon Marshmallow Hot Cocoa Bombs are a new thing now, that when you drop it into your hot cocoa and it looks like a Pokeball and the marshmallow melts away, you get a little mini Pokemon figure, and each one is different in each one of the Pokeball marshmallow things. So that's kind of cool. A man buys a house, or rather builds a house over a pond so he can fish indoors. Smart and intelligent, I guess. I guess you got to work it out how things are going to, make sure no insects get in, or the weather isn't too bad, whatever. Speaking of football, Eli Manning decided to go undercover to see what the experience of being a walk-on to a college program would be. So he disguised himself as Chad Powers, long-haired. They had like all kinds of makeup on him. He had like a little skinny mustache and made him look younger and made him not look like Eli. And he had to come up with a certain voice. And the coach he was trying to see what it was like to be a walk-on at Penn State. And the coach for Penn State knew that he was there, but decided to play along with the thing. And so it was kind of fun to see this video. And then the kids freaking out when they saw that it was actually Eli. It was really, really funny, really, really clever. And goes to show you that Peyton is not the only really funny one in the family. Stephen King's birthday was this week, and he announced this week that he'll be turning his main house, Maine as in the state of Maine, into a museum and writer's retreat. So I guess he's living someplace else. And the mansion or whatever big house he had in Maine will now become this museum, probably a Stephen King museum and a writer's retreat. So that's kind of cool for that. The Byers house from Stranger Things, where Will and all of them lived at, the house that was used for the stand-in and stuff like that, obviously, is going to be on the market now for $300,000. So if you want to live in the house that the Byers lived in, it's not exactly the same, since the interior is different than the exterior, obviously, because the interior you had to be able to maneuver around and do stuff to, do stuff. So it'll be different on the inside than it is outside, but it is the outside, and it is from the show. So $300,000, not bad. It's a small house, so I guess it's worth it. A comet with a 500,000 mile long tail will be flying by Earth really soon. 500,000 mile tail. I mean, that sucker you're going to be like all tail. They're supposed to, you're going to be able to see it with your naked eye, and there'll just be like one big streak of white, because 500,000 mile long tail is absolutely, I don't even think the whole Earth is 500,000 miles. Maybe it is. I don't know. A theme park with Jumanji and Ghostbusters rides and stuff like that will be opening in October. Don't know where, didn't say, but it was kind of interesting little thing. Jurassic World Dominion, the final part of the Jurassic World saga, the Jurassic Park saga for the most part, crossed the $1 billion mark this week. So it is a success, right? The attractive attorney for Johnny Depp in the Johnny Depp defamation trial with Amber Heard has divorced her husband and is now currently dating a Johnny Depp. Despite earlier rumors with Apple taking over the running of the Super Bowl halftime show, rumors abound that Taylor Swift was going to be the halftime show performer. That has been debunked as of now. Still could happen, but as of now, no one has been picked to do the halftime show for the Super Bowl as of yet. I've talked about this for a couple of weeks periodically, but Beverly Hills Cop 4 is currently in production right now. Will be showing up on Netflix sometime next year, I would bet. Eddie Murphy, of course, is returning as Axel Foley. The movie's called Beverly Hills Cop 4, Axel Foley. He'll be returning as Axel Foley. And with him on set, we've seen John Ashton and Judge Reinhold, Paul Reiser, and Bronson Pinchot, all characters who've been in previous Beverly Hills Cop movies. Not necessarily all of them, but have been in a lot of them. Have all signed on and are all going to be in this film. So good on that. True Detective, which was a huge hit many, many years ago with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey as an anthology series. And the second season with Vince Vaughn didn't do so well. And the third season with the dude who played the Joker and the new the Penguin in the new Batman movie. I forget his name right now. Didn't do as well either. So HBO Max has finally decided they're going to do a season 4. And I talked about this about months ago when they announced that Jodie Foster was going to be the star of it, along with Amy Lamb, I believe is Karen Reyes is the other one. So Cassie Reyes, I'm sorry. They are the main stars of it. But we also have more casting info. Christopher Eccleston, who was the 9th Doctor. Fiona Shaw, the aforementioned Fiona Shaw, who's in Andor, is Mrs. Dursley, will be showing up as a kick-ass character, probably in True Detective. John Hawkes, Finn Bennett, and Amy Lamb have all signed on for this as well. A new Cloverfield movie is coming out. It'll be the 4th one. The first one was a huge surprise hit. The second one was a critically acclaimed hit that was completely different than the first one. And the third one was some sort of outer space crazy thing that didn't get quite the buzz that the first two did and was not as good from what I heard, but they're all connected in some form or another, even though they're all kind of different. So now we have a 4th one rolling out here really soon. Oh, man sets record for world's longest pumpkin boat journey down a river. Okay. John Carpenter, he of the Halloween fame, says he is working on a Godzilla project. Don't know in what capacity or what the project is, but he is working on it. Jupiter will be at its closest to the Earth since 1963. It'll be much brighter in the night sky, so keep an eye open for that. Also, the James Webb telescope took a picture of Neptune this week, and we get to see a view of the rings, which we haven't seen in a while. So that's kind of cool to see that. So I knew that was up there. I knew that story. I just don't know where it is on here. But I'll find it eventually. And I wanted to connect it to this. Also, Mars is now has 15,694 pounds of human trash on its surface from 50 years of exploration. So that's kind of disappointing there. But yeah, so some interesting. Yeah, there is Webb telescope photographing a good view of the ring. So there we go. Boom on that. All right. A new version of the Neverending Story looks like it was announced in a poster for 2024. So we will see if it's going to be a show or a movie or whatever. We don't know, but the fact is they still got some time, but that will be coming soon. Speaking of Disney, the new trailer for their Thanksgiving animated film Strange World debuted. It is due out on the day before Thanksgiving, 11/23. Jake Gyllenhaal and Dennis Quaid voicing it. We get a little bit more idea of what the story is about. All we've seen so far is just this weird, bizarre sort of land where all this weird stuff is happening. We don't know why they're there. This trailer explains why and how they got there. So it looks to be maybe a non-musical one, which they haven't done for a while. One of my all-time favorite Disney films, Atlantis, which is a non-musical one. This looks like this may be actually a non-musical one as well, but it is visually stunning from what we've seen so far. So kind of interesting to see that. And this is also the 30th anniversary of the Beauty and the Beast animated film from Disney. I don't think it's this week because I think that we'll see that closer to Thanksgiving. I think it debuted around Thanksgiving. So when I do my Thanksgiving show, it'll probably pop up on my anniversaries. But to celebrate it, ABC is going to be airing this show on December 15th. And I think Disney Plus is going to pick it up a day or two later. But it is a combination live action animated film. And it's got a very interesting cast. I didn't even know they were doing it. H.E.R., I don't know, I guess it's some contemporary singer right now, will be playing Belle. Josh Groban will be playing the Beast. Josh Henry will be playing Gaston. Rita Moreno is going to be the narrator. David Alan Grier is going to be playing Cogsworth. Shania Twain is playing Mrs. Potts. And Martin Short will be playing Lumiere. It'll be coming out here soon. December 15th on ABC, and then one day later on Disney Plus. Yep. So we got all that done. All right, is that page done? Nope. Game of Thrones actor Jerome Flynn has been cast in the Yellowstone spinoff 1923 that's starring Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. He's the newest member to join the cast. I think I talked about Marley Shelton last week joining the cast. So there's that. 121 already, geez, and I still got a lot to go, so let's roll through this. Michael Keaton, one of my favorite actors of all time, finally gets a well-deserved star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame this week. What the hell is that? Oh, Brownie-O Oreos are coming back. That's the one that was a 3-layer thick Oreo. Has brownie batter, cookie dough, and just the regular cream from an Oreo. I don't know if I actually got one of those. I might have. I don't remember, but they were back in stores right now. Mike Flanagan's Shining prequel that he wanted to do will not be happening because of the failure of his movie Dr. Sleep. Harvey Weinstein is holding what I believe still is Kevin Smith's best film he ever did, Dogma, hostage. So Kevin Smith does not own the rights to it, and he cannot re-release it on Blu-ray or add stuff to it. So he's trying to figure out a way to get it out of there, but it is currently being held hostage by Harvey Weinstein, who should be in prison and not being able to work. The Chainsaw Man English dub for the anime coming to Crunchyroll has first trailer debut. It'll be coming to Crunchyroll on October 12th. Chainsaw Man is violent and sexual, but should still be a pretty good thing as well. Scanners is heading to HBO Max as a TV series, and I was like, who really wants a Scanners TV show? HBO Max, you should have let Warner Brothers do the Batgirl movie. I'd rather see that than a Scanners TV show. Will Smith is starting his path back to stardom with a new film being directed by one of the directors of Miss Marvel. So that'd be good. An AI program cast Tom Holland as Link in a hypothetical Legend of Zelda film and drew a artistic rendering of what he could look like as Link, and goddamned if he doesn't look like Link from the Legend of Zelda video game. Unknowns Jeff Kaplan and Ian Springer will be writing the Fantastic Four movie, considering they're mostly doing all sort of unknowns to do that. That's kind of an interesting take on stuff, but Marvel has been successful with these type of things, so we'll see if that continues with that. A Hocus Pocus producer has suggested that there should be a show, a Monster of the Week show that's set in Salem, because he liked filming in Salem. So sort of like a Buffy, but in Salem. Stranger Things season 5 is locked in. The whiteboard that the writer's room has been periodically showing during this time period, during their writing thing, is now full. So the story arcs, the storylines for every episode have been fleshed out. Obviously, we couldn't see what it said because it was all blurry and stuff like that, but they do have their stories set. Now they just need to write them, and we'll see what that. I Know What You Did Last Summer is getting its own TV show from Amazon. We get a trailer from that. So we're expanding a movie into a TV show. Okay. This one's Eugene Cordero is now a regular on Loki season 2. He was had a minor role in the first season. He's now in season 2. Woman makes $80 an hour as a certified cuddler. So if you like cuddling, not naked, it's just cuddling on the sofa or bed or whatever, but nothing sexual about it. Just a nice cuddle. Pay $80 an hour for how long you want to be cuddled. There you go. Surprisingly, in a study, Maryland, where I'm from, has been picked as the second happiest state in the United States, only falling behind number 1, Hawaii. So you go, Maryland. I'm happy I live here. McDonald's Halloween Happy Meal buckets from the 1980s are making a return this year. So good on that. Woody Allen is going to retire after he directs his 50th film called Wasp 22, so he can work on his novel. Again, Woody Allen is a piece of shit, but you've got to take a look at his career and you'll be like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Demi Moore has been cast in the second season of the FX show Feud, so it's good to see her getting back and getting some work. Nicholas Galitzin, who was in the hugely popular Purple Hearts romantic comedy or romantic drama on Netflix, has been cast to star opposite Anne Hathaway in a new Prime movie called Idea of You, a romantic drama in that. So he's moving on up in the world from being in a small, low-key movie like Purple Hearts to being a big film with Anne Hathaway on Amazon Prime. Pokemon burgers, not Pokemon meat, Pokemon burger, buns that look like Pokemon are now a thing in Japan right now. So you can eat your hamburger with a Pokemon roll right now. John Leguizamo will be coming to the Baltimore Comic-Con. Some local news there this year. Baltimore Comic-Con is in late October, I believe. So we got about a month or so before that. Did Bruce Willis make a trilogy without anyone knowing before he retired? Bruce Willis retired due to suffering from an illness. And his newest direct-to-video film, Detective Night Rogue, is coming out. But there have been some signs that he made 2 other ones that are going to be due out over the next 2 years. So it looks like that they're already done. He's just going to release them. So we'll see if that ends up being true. Iron Man has finally got his own video game. Everyone else has one, so why not them? Oogie Boogie candy dish is now at Target. Funny thing about that is I went to Target today to get some of the plumbing stuff I said to fix my sink upstairs. And it's September 24th now, September 25th, almost a full month and a few days, and a month and a week before Halloween, and their Halloween stuff at Target is completely decimated. And I find that really odd. And I went on this rant a while ago. It's like, why don't you stock more or get another shipment of that stuff in, because a lot of people aren't actually going to buy their stuff until closer to Halloween, and you can make more money that way. Oh, well, I don't know. Kraft Mac and Cheese releases their set of Black Panther 2 boxes. So Black Panther 2 will be crossing over with Kraft Mac and Cheese. So the boxes will have characters from the movie on them. James Cameron ignored Fox notes on his Avatar movie and threw the success of Titanic in their face. Now, I'm all for directors keeping their vision, but James Cameron is kind of a dick, and the fact that he did that is kind of a dick move, but okay. New holiday special, A Reindeer in Here, coming to CBS on November 29th. So we'll get the first new holiday animated film in a few years. Litwick is going to be the October Pokemon Community Day Pokemon, just in time for the Ghost Halloween event. It's a good choice, and looking forward to it. And the final story this week. Oh, no, I missed an anniversary. Jennifer's Body with sexy Megan Fox came out in 2009. That was another anniversary thing. So the final article this week, nothing exciting. Eldon Henson is set to reprise his role as Foggy Nelson in the Daredevil show that he played in the Netflix version. He's now going to play it in the Marvel MCU version. So that's about it. Don't forget to go out and buy some Lithuanian pussy flavored chips. I really want to eat some pussy, but it's been a long time, but I miss it. But maybe I need to eat some because I do miss it. Anyway, that's besides the point. All right, it's time for me to go. Did this in less than an hour, a little bit more than an hour and a half. Next week's show, we're getting into October, I believe. Yes, October 1st is next Saturday. So we're getting into my anniversary weekend. No, I'm not going to have any sex on my anniversary anymore. Don't have sex anymore. That's besides the point. Anyway, so we'll see what happens about that. We'll talk. I didn't see the new episodes of She-Hulk and Lord of the Rings because my wife and kids were away this week, and we're not going to watch them till Sunday, till later today. So we'll have reviews of probably 2 episodes of that as well, and also Andor's new episode comes out this week as well. I'll have to find time to watch that because my wife and kids haven't watched it yet. So other than that, I can't think of anything else. Hopefully, maybe we'll get some Tudum news. I doubt. I think Tudum was the one day, one and done. And so we're going to keep waiting to find out what's going on with Sandman. That pisses me off to no end. And also, I wanted to see some of the first stuff about the live action anime. So we're not going to see that either. So Netflix kind of dropped the ball on that. So, oh well. Not much I can say about that except have a good rest of your week. Let's go Ravens. Let's hopefully you can come back from this horrible defeat you had this week and win this week against the Patriots. And may your favorite NFL team, baseball team, whatever, win as well. And have a great week and enjoy the fall weather because it is now officially fall and I am ecstatic. Thank you.